thank you for joining us.
Oh, the pleasure's all mine. I'm just so intrigued, with the country music market overseas, how much people love, obviously, country music around the world. And for me to be in Canada, spending time up on my farm, and now technology, we're on a FaceTime and we're talking like this. It just blows my mind. My grandparents would never believe this was like real life.
Well, this is it. This is the new way of doing it, isn't it, really? That we've all had to become accustomed to it.
Mm-hmm.
You found some ways out of it, didn't you?
Well, if I had it my way, the world would be open again. What I'd give to just play a concert and get on a flight, not have to wear a mask or anything. Like, if I could just go back in time, I'd go back to 2019 and I would just soak it in more. I would just soak it in so much more.
So obviously we were meant to have been in Italy in June.
Yeah.
Doing this over beer pong.
Oh, and boy, were we ever going to have fun. And I had planned to come out to the Voguera Fest and not just come for the concert, but my wife and I were going to come, all of my band and their spouses. We were all going to spend maybe a week or two and just spend time, obviously, in that region and then go see the rest of the country. I mean, absence makes the heart grow fonder. We both know that. So we'll make up for lost time when we do.
So would that have been your first time playing in Europe? Am I right in saying?
Well, no, I was lucky. I've been able to play in Europe a few times, but it would be my first concert in Italy. I've been able to play in France before. I played in Manchester at Buckle and Boots. I played in Switzerland, but Italy, obviously, there's a wonderful, cachet to the rest of the world when you get to travel to Italy and when you get to play in Italy. So it was something I was really excited about.
So around the time you should have been in Italy, you were playing in front of cars instead. Yep. Going back 12 months, how could you think you could explain to yourself the scenario you found yourself in there?
You know what? I think till the day that I die, I'll always remember those shows as being the most unique concerts that I've ever done, because obviously it was a means to an end. It was the only way we could play live music and keep everybody safe. So we had to invent something or create something. Now, Keith Urban did a drive-in concert about a week or two prior. Brad Paisley did some concerts about a week or two later. And I guess I was the third act ever in the world to have ever done a drive-in concert to that degree. And it actually turned out to be a wonderful fundraising opportunity and method, as we did 24 drive-in concerts across Canada and raised over $250,000 for food banks across Canada. So allowing country music to do what country music is always supposed to do, and that's bring people together.
Now, obviously, it also led to a TV special. What was it like when that phone call came in?
Well, it's an interesting question. It was opposite. We knew that it would be a wonderful thing for the rest of the country to see, and what really went into it. So I felt we had a real shot at creating compelling content that would make a really unique documentary. However, all of the big networks in Canada said, well, if you film it, if you pay for it, we'll consider it. So I thought to myself, well, that's a big risk. This is a massive project to film and produce and create. And if we don't get network appeal, how are we going to do this? So what I had to do is just roll the dice and risk it, basically financially. And I'm glad I did it. And I'm glad that we did create it professionally. And my very good friend, Blake McWilliam, is an outstanding producer and director. So we did create it, we did produce it. And sure enough, CBC picked it up. And CTV picked it up. And I'm really grateful for that.
Now, obviously, you've kept very busy in the last year. And you did a couple of remixes of songs from the Now or Never album.
Yes.
I have my copy here. There you go.
Thank you.
It might be the only one in England. I do not know, but I have it.
It might be the only one autographed.
So, obviously, A Few Good Stories was one of my favourite songs on the album. And Walk the Earth joined you recently for it. What did they kind of add to it in your mind?
I think they took it to a whole new level. For those who are familiar with Walk Up the Earth and their incredible talent and chemistry and creativity, especially, they were able to take that song to a whole new level in terms of production and adding Gianni's vocals to it, as well as his wife, Sarah. I'm very grateful that they accepted the invite to be a part of that song. And I think they, it was a great song before, but somehow they found a way to make it way better.
Now, the Nelly collaboration for Drive Me Crazy. How does something like that come about?
Okay, this is the most random story you may have ever heard in your life or career in journalism. We wrote the song, my friends and I, Emily, as well as Karen Kozowski. The three of us wrote it as I just got back from Vegas, and I wanted to write a club song that would sound great in the clubs. So She Drives Me Crazy was written in about 45 minutes, and I knew that I needed to have a big collab with that song. So who can we have? Who can we have? Well, Nelly was at the top of the list. However, we actually had a couple other artists kind of in the queue and in line, because Nelly, quite frankly, was just such a high target that I didn't know if we'd ever accomplish that. But I'm leaving a reception for an international conference in Nashville with my agent and my manager. And who do I bump into coming into the hotel but Nelly and his team? Now, we know a lot of the same people, and he's performed in Canada and done work with my agent before. And so we just started talking, and he said, "What are you doing for dinner?" And I said, "Well, let's go across the street. It'll be quieter there." So we went, we ate dinner together. Dinner turned into drinks. Drinks turned into me getting Nelly's number. And I said, "Hey, I've got this song that I think you'd be an epic collab on and for." And so I texted it to him, and he texted back and said, "I'm in." Just like that. No other planning, nothing else. You meet a guy who comes out of his Escalade at the hotel, and now we're doing a collab 2 weeks later on a song. You can't write this stuff, but he performed on it, and it was awesome. We were averaging 1 million streams a day. We decided, because he had a lot of other collabs with Florida Georgia Line, Jimmy Allen, and a bunch of his friends in country music, we pulled ours down, and we're going to re-release it this summer again. So I'm really excited for those who got a little taste, loved it, and then we'll bring it back, and we've got some big plans this summer.
Now, one single though has probably stood out above the rest with Drink About Me, and it's just been nominated for Single of the Year at the Junos. There's a couple of names on that list that you're up against that people might have heard of. Only one or two though. Yeah. How much of an honor is it?
It's one of the greatest honors of my career, without question, especially because of the weight that nomination carries, and because of the weight of the industry, like the Juno Awards, and the fact that 4 songs that I loved all year long as a fan, first and foremost, of just music, like Intentions by Justin Bieber, or If the World Was Ending, You'd Come Over, Right, by JP Saxe, Kissing Other People by my friend Lennon Stella, or of course, one of the biggest songs of the last probably 20 years, In Blinding Lights by The Weeknd. To just be alongside those and represent country music is beyond my wildest dreams.
When you kind of get the message for these nominations, did you kind of have to have a bit of a double read of who you're up against and what category it is?
Absolutely. And I mean, I was watching the live stream for the nomination announcement, and the first nomination of the morning. And now your nominations for Single of the Year. Brett Kissel, Drink About Me. That was the first thing, 2 minutes into the live stream. Like, I almost fell back on my chair. Like, I grew up on a cattle ranch in northeastern Alberta, Canada, where we had more cattle on our ranch than people in our nearest village. And now I'm nominated with Justin Bieber and The Weeknd. Like, what? I couldn't believe it.
Now, you won 3 awards at last year's Canadian Country Music Awards. Do you ever get bored or get sort of even used to seeing your name nominated?
Never, ever. And I think that would be the Achilles heel for an artist to ever expect it or show anything other than extreme appreciation and extreme gratitude for that type of recognition. And I know this is going to sound like Miss America here. The nomination itself is the key. Getting that type of recognition is unbelievable. The glass trophy at the end, it could go any way. But just being considered in the top 5 or the top 10 or what have you in your industry for that particular category, I mean, that's that's as much a feather in your cap as you could ever ask for. So I'm just grateful for those moments in my life.
Now, before we get on to new music, obviously coming forward now into 2021, the world's starting to get back open. What's going on with the Oilers? Why are they winning?
I don't know, but I don't want them to stop. I don't want them to stop. And I text the boys after almost every game. And it just, there's so much excitement. And I think there's a really great buzz in the city, even though, and this is a weird thing about energy, there's a buzz in the city, even though we're not together, right? So this is an amazing thing. And I hope we go all the way and win the Stanley Cup this year.
Now, as a Calgary fan, sorry, I have to admit it, what's it like to do the national anthem at the Battle of Alberta?
It's still, even though this year there were no fans in the audience, for me, I loved the experience because you could still feel the energy between the two teams sitting side by side on the bench. And you know that these games are huge, and especially with 10 Battle of Albertas this year in the NHL, that's unprecedented. So getting a chance to also get the Oilers back on track. They went on a losing streak and somebody sang the anthem and they went on a winning streak. So I don't know what to tell you.
So do you think having this kind of Canadian conference has sort of added to the mood in the city and kind of the belief of fans, knowing that it's all local teams and local rivalries so much more?
Without question. And some of the greatest rivalries in sports and other, obviously other sports around the world, it's truly when you get two teams from the same province or the same area that go head to head. And so in Alberta, Canada, having the Oilers and the Flames go head to head like they have been for 40 years, this is very, very special for me in my own little way to be a part of it as a fan and also as an artist to get a chance to sing at those games.
Now, as you kind of see that buzz, does that kind of add to the itch of wanting to get back performing live in front of people?
I've had the itch to perform live since one day into the pandemic. One day in was too long of lockdown. You can't, a guy like me, I mean, you know what I've realized is that my favorite things in the world are social gatherings, gathering with people. Whether I'm on stage and trying to be the life of the party, or if I'm in the crowd enjoying what the entertainer is bringing to me and being with like-minded people and bumping shoulders and drinking beer and stuff like that in the arenas for hockey or for baseball or for football, for concerts. I miss that. So I've been itching to get back on the stage some way, somehow, and still trying to figure it out. And I think I've got some big ideas for Canada coming up this summer too.
Now, you're going to have plenty of new music for people to hear. How excited are you then to play these new songs?
So excited because absence makes the heart grow fonder. And so the level of anticipation that I'm feeling is unlike anything I've ever felt in my life. She Drives Me Crazy, for example, is a song I've never performed live with my band or even on my guitar yet, because it's such a banger of a song. I don't want to waste it on Facebook Live. I want to play it with big production and pyro and a crowd that's losing their minds for this song. So I can't wait.
Now, with the new album just a few weeks away, do you think it would have ever happened if this lockdown hadn't occurred?
Not in this way. I mean, new music would have, come out regardless. But the way that this album really leads with heart and has so much intention behind it, I don't think I would have had the creative project or the artistic project that I have before you today. This record means more to me than anything else I've ever put out. It's far more important than anything I've ever done because I'm truly diving deep into the things that matter to me in life and in music. I used to chase hit songs and only care about what it would sound like live or whether it would be a hit on radio. Whereas now, if that happens, great. But I'm leading a lot more with my heart than I ever have been. So I'm very proud of this record.
Now, probably one of the things I bet you're most proud of is the appearances of your family on it. How hard was it to get the kids to do the voice memos?
Not hard at all because they weren't planned. These voice memos were things that I'd recorded over the last couple of months we do little things like words of affirmation with my son, well, all my family, but I just happened to record, or my wife recorded her and my son talking. I am brave, I am smart, I am important. Those little things are important for, I think, a little kid to be saying on a regular basis. Aria, who's next in line, she's 3 years old, turning 4 soon. She was just doing bedtime prayers one night, and my wife and I were actually out at dinner. One of the first nights that restaurants reopened, and we booked our reservation and we went out for a beautiful dinner. So her sister, my sister-in-law, recorded Aria giving bedtime prayers, saying, "Thank you for my mom and dad. I love my mom and dad. Bless my mom and dad." That's so heart-wrenching. It's so beautiful. And then Mila, our eldest, she's 5. We had recorded her months ago, just talking about what life is like for her and what do you love in life? What are your favorite things? So those personal touches to the record make this extra special.
Do you think it's going to be something you're going to remind them of on their wedding days in years to come?
Oh, I think so. Absolutely. I think we'll play those things and show clips and footage of my family on a regular basis. I'm so grateful that I get to include them, and that at this point they want that too. It's nothing that we're forcing our children to be a part of. I asked them and got their permission. Would you like to be a part of Dad's music video next week? We're going to fly to this farm and we're going to go and do this. And they all wanted to do that and be a part of the adventure. And so we never force anything on our kids. And I'm grateful that they're along for the ride and willing to be a part of this adventure together.
So the first single for the album is out, and it came out with a bit of a bang a few weeks ago, and it's had the most ads ever in a single week on Canadian country radio. What do you think it is about this song?
I truly believe that timing is everything, and the way that we're all feeling in our hearts and in our minds about what we're all going through. Of course, each of our experiences is unique, but what we're going through collectively as a community is something that this song really speaks about and speaks to. So I'm just grateful to be the storyteller for this song and sing these lyrics. I want to make a life, not a living. It's very true to me, but I think it's very true to the masses, the whole Canadian community, the whole European community, the whole American community. Whoever you are, wherever you're from, there are elements of this song that I believe are going to resonate with you.
Now, before we finish, as if doing a headline parking lot tour, recording new album, new music videos wasn't enough, you're now about to release your own TV show.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit about it? It looks quite fun from what I've seen so far.
It's wonderful. It's an outdoor television show and Sportsman Channel in the United States as well as in Canada, and you can get it around the world depending on what TV package you have. This show is really unique to spend time with my family and to go out in the woods and, go hunting and fishing. What's unique is that we talk about things like conservation too. We talk about things like cooking. I have done this all my life, yet a lot of people in bigger cities, can be really disappointed about those who decide to harvest an animal, catch fish, or shoot deer. But for me, as someone who eats meat and feeds my family wild game, I love the opportunity getting a chance to talk about how sustainable it is and how important it is actually for culture and for environment and the ecosystem of what goes on here in Canada. And the most sustainable meat source is getting a chance to go out and harvest your own animal and butcher your own animal and feed that animal to your family. It's not part of the massive farms going out in South America or, all of the real negative things that could come with mass farming. And I'm a cattle rancher myself. So I just try to live the life of sustainability and talk about conservation and do it in a proper way. If an animal happens to have big horns, that's great. But I'm not out there just searching for trophies. I'm out there to truly talk about tradition of hunting and fishing. So that's a unique perspective that I think I'm bringing to the channel.
Well, I'll let you know if I can find it over here in England. So I'm looking forward to seeing it, definitely. So thank you for joining us.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And hopefully next time it can be over a game of beer pong.
And it will be. And we'll have a wonderful series. And yeah, well, we'll be feeling pretty good after that interview. That's for sure.
No, thank you so much for joining us, Brett. Really appreciate it.
The pleasure's all mine. Thank you for your time.
Give me your wraparound porch swing, swinging. tropical pond with a night crawler sinking, girl in my hand, the other one drinking that Bud Light. Yeah, that's my